Ben,
Hello.
how you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you?
Very well, very well. Looks like we got a strong connection.
Awesome.
That's great. Let me get with you in a moment. I'm going to open the show, all right?
Sounds like a plan.
All righty. Welcome back, everybody, to No Cover TV's podcast. That's right. I'm your host, Al Brady. Big Al to you. I bring that original local and national music scene, and I just shove in your face. You know I do. I've been doing it since 1997 from TV to DJ. Now, podcast. You need to check out the music that's out there. All genres, all age groups from around this world, not just in your hometown, just not in your state, just not in America. Spread your wings. There's some great stuff out there. Great show for you today. Can't wait to get to my guests. I want to thank each and one of you out there checking out the podcast. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me. I love talking to the artists and the bands and getting in their head and talking about their story and getting it to you so you can then listen to their music, wonderful music and stuff like that. So get a hold of me. You can do that through Facebook, No Cover TV, or Al Brady, or go to Instagram, No Cover TV1. Email me, nocovertv@yahoo.com if you'd like. Also, I want to thank my sponsor, Written Music Store out of the Grand Rapids in Holland, Michigan. They are wonderful people that supply our musicians with great gear. And if you go to the store in Grand Rapids, pick up one of the No Cover TV guitar picks. That's your 10% off all accessories. Yeah, you might be able to work a little deal on the side for some gear and equipment. Just talk to them nice. Yes, and tell them I sent you. I may be rushing this intro a little bit, and there's a reason. This guest I have on today, wonderful. I am got a big smile on my face. I got a whole lot of notes here. Wow. So our guest today, I'm going to get right to him. Ben Davis Jr. is in the house from Ohio. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic, Al. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. A little chilly up here, but I'm doing well. How about you down there?
Yeah, it's a little chilly, but we don't get it like y'all do up there, that's for sure.
Yes, but not too much snow. I appreciate that. Yeah, indeed. So, in the house, people, is Ben Davis Jr. He's a wonderful singer, songwriter, and storyteller. And I want you to get on your PCs, your laptops, your cell phones, your stone tablets, whatever you use to get on the internet. Get to the platforms. I'm on Spotify. And type in Ben Davis Jr. I want you to hear his music. You need to hear his music. We have a lot to talk about, Ben.
Yeah, sure.
You're doing some amazing things with your music.
Man, I've been working so hard and I've gotten to do so many fun things. It's been a blessing in my life, that's for sure.
Oh, and your music is a blessing. I've been just listening, and the wife's listening, and it amazes me, my friend.
Well, thank you. That means a whole lot, Al. I know you listen to a lot of music, so that means a lot coming from you.
Well, I appreciate that, my friend. And we, like I said, have a lot to cover. So I want to first off thank our friend, mutual friend, Eric Kincaid out there that introduced us.
Oh yeah, old white chocolate. That's his street name, I think.
I appreciate that. So we want to thank Eric for that. So everybody, you know what I like to do. I want to jump into the mind of the artist, and I want to take them on a journey. We're going to go on a time capsule, Ben. All right?
All right, sounds like a plan.
Let's do this. All right, we're going to talk about now. We're going back a ways, but I'm not going to bring you too far young, but I'm going to bring you to about 16 years old. Now, what is
Okay.
Ben listening to? What are you listening to at about 16 years old?
Well, at about 16 years old, man, I had been at that point listening to a whole lot of Guns N' Roses and hair metal and things like that. That's what my dad kind of listened to a lot when we riding in the car. And then at that age, at 16, that's when what they called emo and screamo and a lot of that
Mm,
was really hitting the airwaves. And me being a 16-year-old, it was what the girls were into, and
you're right.
I wound up into it too. And I had been playing out already for about 2 years at that age, and
Sure.
kind of shaping into who I was going to become. But yeah, so back then my favorite band was this band called Emery. They were a band from South Carolina that moved to Washington. That they had heard all of their favorite bands had moved to Washington to Seattle to hit it
Yeah.
big, and
Right.
so they did it like many years after that was the cool thing to do, and for whatever reason it worked for them, and they just had
Wow.
a sound that I really loved. The guitars, and they had really nice harmonies with their vocals, and then they had a really nice metal influence in there too. So I don't know,
Okay.
that was really where it was at for me at that age.
Okay. Now you said you started playing a little bit before then, and you're listening to GNR.
Oh yeah.
Were you playing heavier stuff at that time?
Yeah, yeah. So, I started, my first performance was when I was 14 with
Oh yeah.
a garage band, and we played a lot of like punk rock and pop punk. It was all original. From the
Nice.
very beginning, that's kind of what we did. I mean, our first show, we didn't have a lot of songs, so it was half Green Day, it seemed
Okay.
like. But,
Great.
but yeah, we were playing a little bit more heavier music and just trying to. I wanted to be Slash on guitar and Axl on vocals. That was my thing, and I didn't know that you really had to just kind of be born into that, really. I mean, at least the
Right.
Axl vocal thing. But
Oh,
yeah, so I did my best. I found where I could fit in and used those influences and brought them to the table for that band. And
nice.
it was definitely edgier and a little more amped up than what I do these days.
Okay, okay. So let's move a little forward here. When did you settle into the music style you have now, which I want to call you more folk country rock, a little bit alternative?
Yeah, so that happened. It really happened for me in 2010. I was in that band that I joined when I was 14, all the way until 2010. And I was 14 in 2004, and I was just becoming a young man, 20 years old. Uh, and I had been turned on back in 2007 to this band, the Ava Brothers, and
Mm,
that they mixed the punk rock attitude with the more rootsy instrumentation, and they still had the harmony, but the lyrics really dug at me. They stuck with me, and along with them, the same guy gave me a CD by a guy named Todd Snyder, who happens to be my number one influence, my favorite songwriter of all time. And
oh,
then
yeah.
I had happened to also stumble across in the same year, 2007, David Childers out of Mount Holly, North Carolina, and between those three, they kind of really helped me align my creative perspective with more of who I was. We were all little hillbilly kids in Southern Ohio trying to be punk rock, and it works. Punk rock and country music aren't too far apart, but
Yeah.
that's when it really happened for me. So I left that band and I decided I was going to be a singer songwriter, and I started writing with my voice rather than writing
Mm,
for the songs that we were writing as that band.
okay. All right. Now, I mean, you're amazing storyteller within your songs. Where'd that come from? Because that's just not natural, man.
Well, it wasn't always that way. I can tell you that. I've always tried to be as plain spoken as I can be, not to try to use too much metaphor and whatnot. But it what happens is if you just tell the truth, it's pretty poetic. If you sing about life and what the human condition is like, it's going to come out a little poetic, and whether you try not to or not. And
Very true.
that's the David Childers really sets a scene with every song, and finding him really helped me with that, adding layers. And the more that I've written as I've gotten older, it happens a little more naturally. But my very first song was "Hey Ruth, tell me the truth. Do you really plan on leaving me tonight?" It wasn't really very layered. It was just that was what was on my sleeve. But now I've lived and felt a lot more, so I it comes out a little differently.
The more life experiences, the better the stories get.
Absolutely,
Definitely. Now you have a band, the Reveille Band. Is that your
yeah,
band?
absolutely, and it's kind of a rotating cast, but we've been going strong since 2018, through all the hurdles of life, and
Yeah.
we're fortunate to get to play out a few times a year. It's just difficult to get everybody's schedules together.
Understandable. And I see you're doing wonderful with the solo career.
Oh yeah, I stay busy with that. This was my first year out of nearly 20 that I have been self-sufficient as a traveling, touring singer-songwriter.
Nice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are listening. I hope you are checking out Ben Davis Jr. Ben, platforms. Let's get that right out of the way. Where can these people find you, listen to your dates, merch, anything?
So everything, a one-stop shop will be bendavisjr.net. I try to stay pretty up to date with my tour dates on there, and my Facebook is very, very up to date. As much of a curse as it is, it's also a huge blessing as far as communication goes. But I stay glued to that, it seems like. And then all of the music streaming platforms, Spotify is the one that we try to focus on the most because it seems to be the one that gets tracked. So I always try to send folks that way. But any way you like to listen to music, it's out there. Just search Ben Davis Jr.
That is wonderful, Ben. Now, let's just get right to it. Your LPs, EPs, singles, CDs. You've done some things here. Let's see. The earliest one was what, 2016?
Well, actually, the first one was in 2014. It was 2013. Sorry, December 31st, 2013. So I'm coming up on 10 years of that. That's called the Day Before Payday, and that was released with my backing band, the Dirt Poor Troubadours, and that one was recorded in just a couple of days.
Just a couple of days.
Yeah, we had our hearts set on recording live and doing it as garage band like as possible, and it came out that way, But people still talk about it. They like that one. It's got a lot of the songs I still perform today, but for me, it's one that kind of I listen to and cringe a little bit once in a while.
The first one.
Yeah, the first one. We were just kids, and we've all grown so much as musicians. So I feel like sometimes those songs deserve a little revamping and maybe another visit down the road.
I would think so. Now, next up, is that Leaving Cincinnati?
Yeah, Leaving Cincinnati would be the next one, and that one was a huge step. It was my first record working with producer Eddie Ashworth, who is a very renowned producer with roots in Chicago and Los Angeles, and he's worked with a lot of reputable bands, Sublime, and as an engineer, he worked with them on their first couple of records, and he worked with Izzy Stradlin preparing radio edits for Appetite for Destruction, and went on the road with Great White. He just and then for some reason he wound up in Appalachian, Ohio, and I was playing a club, and he was there, and at the end of the show he came up and said he wanted to work with me, and I got 5 songs together, and we lay them down at his studio, the Oxide Shed, and that was Leaving Cincinnati, and that one has been very, very good for me.
And I love Leaving Cincinnati, the song.
Oh, thank you.
Great song. And it's wonderful because I tell everybody out there, you don't know who's out in that audience. You don't know who's listening and watching you and who might approach you. And you got lucky there.
Yeah, very, very much so.
To have an engineer like that produce your music.
Oh, it's
Definitely.
incredible,
Incredible.
and the fact that we've worked together all these years together, and he actually joined my band, and so we've really became great friends and brothers, and I'll work with him until the end.
Oh, that's great. Let's jump to 2019. You did an album.
Yeah, that one's Southern Ohio. It's hard to pronounce
I,
reading it, but it's
that's why you
phonetic.
said
Yeah.
it. I had my way around that.
Yeah, so Southern Ohio, is where I'm at, and a lot of us talk kind of with that Appalachian twang, and if you ask where they're from, they'll say Southern Ohio. So
Yes.
that's why I called it that. That record kind of is just not so much a concept album, but each song represents a different facet of what it's like to live here and feel the things that humans feel while living in Southern Ohio.
That's great. That's awesome, man. I love it. Now, we're jumping right up to 2021.
Yeah,
Roots.
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 So that one, we recorded that I believe, in 2020, which, if you remember, was a ridiculously difficult year to do anything.
Yes, it
And
was.
what we ended up doing was, yeah, it might have been 2021 when we actually recorded that, because school was in session at Ohio University, and Eddie needed to show his students somehow how to record a record during a pandemic. So we all went in with acoustic instruments and wore masks and stayed 6 feet apart. The kids all
Okay.
stayed in the production room, and we sat in, and the rule was no singing. There could be no singing because the
Oh, yeah.
projectiles.
Mhm.
But they said if we could record all the instrumentation there, so we did, and we recorded it live. And I wanted everybody always said, we love your records. The songs are recorded so well and represented so well, but we like your live show better. It's more rootsy and authentic. So we stripped down, and I didn't put a single electric instrument on that record. It was all acoustic instrumentation, and kind of sparse lyrics. Just I wanted to bring it back to the basics and see what we could do. So that's how we ended up recording that one. And when we got it out there, it did really, really well for me. Through that song Roots, I was named the second most talented beard in America by Wall Beard Trimmers, and they
I
paid
see
me
that. That's
paid me a
cool.
bunch of money. Yeah,
I love it because you got the beard going on. Yes, you do.
yeah,
That's really cool. You never know what the name of the wards are going to be sometimes.
yeah. No, and that was such a funny story. I was with this girl for a while, and in 2021, and she invited me to live with her, and so I said sure. And I had a lot of stuff. I owned a home and everything, and a dog, and she also owned a home and a couple of dogs, and they were a lot larger than mine, and were kind of not friendly to stranger dogs. And so I
Oh,
made the
yes.
decision to fit myself into her life. I was going to get rid of everything that I needed really to live by myself, and then rehome my dog. And
Oh,
sometime between loading the U-Haul truck and getting to her house, she decided that she did not want me to live with her anymore, and or be her boyfriend. And so I was obviously gutted, and
yeah.
I was laying at home scrolling through Facebook, saw an advertisement from Wall Beard Trimmers asking if I had talent, facial hair, and a video less than 3 minutes long that could feature my talent and facial hair. And I had just so happened to release the video for that Roots song. I uploaded it, and they chose me as the second place winner. So they paid me 10 grand. Yeah.
Man, well, that's a good recovery. Makes your heart a little brighter there.
Oh yeah, yeah. When one door closes, another one opens, and that got me a lot of notoriety, actually.
Beautiful, beautiful. Because I was going to ask you, you got quite a few fans out there. You got people who are loving you.
Yeah, a lot of that is thanks to Todd Snyder's fan base, honestly. My music is just, I guess, similar enough to his as far as the lyrics go that they have really embraced me and they've really carried me on their back. They've helped me through countless
Incredible.
life trials and things, and their support and their spreading the word about me has helped me travel the country and make a
Beautiful.
living doing it. So,
That's wonderful.
are you still there?
You still there, Ben?
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, we just had a little interruption in the internet. Sorry about that. Tech problems do
No
happen.
worries.
Tech problems happen. So watching your videos and stuff like that, and I'm loving when you're out there.
Little bit of
Yes.
a little bit of an interruption again there.
A little bit. Did you hear me?
I can hear you now.
You can hear me now. Okay, let me rephrase this question. Okay, must be the weather. Oh boy, go away, winter. Boy, we never know sometimes. But what I was mentioning is the venues you're playing. I love when you're out there live playing for the folks.
Oh yeah, I love getting out and finding new places, and the response seems to be pretty good. It's a little less good around my hometown. I think it's just I live in a very small Mayberry type town, and they can see
Okay.
Ben Davis Jr. getting his mail if they want.
Uh,
So, but anywhere else I go, it seems like there's a really great turnout and
oh,
uh, great response to the songs. And I
right.
tell a lot of stories and jokes and things on stage, and that really helps with what I do for sure.
Good, good, good. So you said you're touring around. How often does this happen and you're getting out of the state?
I would say 2 to 3 weeks out of every quarter I travel.
Oh, yes. Very nice.
Yeah, and I like to see different things. I've got a nomad spirit for sure, so I really can't handle being in the same place too long.
Ah,
And
I
this
understand that
this
feeling.
job helps me do that. Obviously, I get to go out and there's a purpose. So it's kind of like I live on vacation, but I really enjoy it.
That's the main thing. Enjoy it, enjoy it. And you knew from a young age what you were going to do and become, didn't you?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I mean, it was either this or a professional wrestler, and I didn't make it through the training. It was only a couple weeks in wrestling school, and I gave up.
You body slam. That's funny. Oh my goodness. Now, when you went to the studio to do these albums and stuff, was it, I like to ask this question, was it all digital? Was there some analog in their equipment you could use?
So we use as much analog as possible.
Yes,
My goal was always to use some tape, but it's just so expensive.
it
We've
is.
never really gotten to do that. But yeah, we use a lot of tubes and a lot of analog preamps and things, and uh, you really want to get that warm hiss in there. If you can't get
Yes.
that in there, it
Mm,
seems to take away a lot of the authenticity, especially with the style of music I do.
it's very true. Very true. I love the old tube heads and stuff like that. And of course, the humming and stuff. You can't beat it.
Oh no, no. I mean, you don't turn on a Kiss record. I mean, I guess you do lately, but you don't. From the '70s, you don't turn on a Kiss record and not
No,
hear the channels kicking in.
right.
Perfect representation is "Immigrant Song" by Led Zeppelin. You hear those channels pop on as soon as you hit play.
Exactly. And I have my albums from the 70s still.
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah, so
yeah.
you
I've
can
got a
hear
lot of those.
so you can hear that. Now, this question I want to ask you, which one do I ask? Because it kind of goes the same. Do you have a PR and a management team?
I do not. I do not. So I do have a fellow that I will use every once in a while. Let me take a drink real quick, Al.
Go for it, my friend. We're with, of course, Ben Davis Jr. is in the house. Everybody, he better be on Spotify checking his music out. You better be. Yes, more questions to come.
All
Indeed.
right.
All
So
right.
yeah, there's a fella Adam Dawson that I will work with on releases that helps get music out to different radio stations and publications and things like that.
Great.
He's worked wonders for me, and it does make a difference. I recommend to every single artist out there to not waste your release by just putting it out there willy nilly. If you can get somebody to support you at all, do it. You know, it
Yeah,
costs a little bit, but it's so worth it just to get new
it is.
ears.
It is. And now this question here kind of goes with that one. If the label came along, would you sign it, or you rather stay independent?
You know, it would have to be the right kind of label. When I was younger, I signed with a label that uh, they were they were just ambitious rich guys that thought that
Oh
they
boy.
could dip their toes in, and basically it wound up with
Mm-hmm.
me just owing them a lot of money and not seeing any benefit whatsoever because they had no connections. But if I were, you know, for instance, Oh Boy Records, John Prine's label, or something like that, I would consider working with them to help deliver things on a more national scale. Because I mean, really, what you need from a label is distribution and tour
Yes.
support. If you get
You have to have
that, then you're
all,
good.
yeah, you need it all together. You need that PR management, then you need your label and distribution. Yes, you do.
Absolutely.
Gotta have it all in check, people. But looks like you're doing great just the way you are, independent. Oh, yes. Now, I just asked you a bunch of general questions. Let's just kick back here. Now, what's up with this movie score? You did a little song for a movie called House.
Yeah, yeah, that happened. So I went to high school here in Jackson, Ohio. It's Jackson High School, and this woman, Nicole Regal, she was a senior, I believe, when I was a freshman. She moved to Los Angeles and went to college to learn how to make movies. And what happened was she entered a contest with the script, and I believe James Franco was the one who was running the contest, and she
Oh,
won.
really?
So she got
Wow.
a good chunk of money, and when she got that money, she decided to come home, and she went to the school and hired the lunch ladies to be in the movie. She went to all of the local factories and hired their employees, and it's all
Wow.
just real people. You
Uh,
know, if you see an extra, it's somebody that you probably will see serving you food at a diner or something here.
really?
And while she was in town, she asked all of the bars, I would like some original local music, and that she got my name from a lot of different people. So I got an email from her production company, and they said they wanted to try a few of my songs on a scene,
Wow.
and I said okay, and then they sent me a check, and I got invited to the premiere, and it was a really cool thing, you know, to see my name in the credits, and
That is.
it's just something you don't think would happen, you know, but that happened. It's pretty neat.
No. And in your music and your style, I could see it hitting a few more movies, if not a lot.
Well,
Definitely.
you know, I would hope that I can figure out a way to get in with some publishers and make things a little more widely available, and that's definitely the thing. You got to figure out ways to get passive income, and that's one of them.
That is one of them. I have a few artists that are doing the sync licensing, and then yeah, it pays good. Definitely,
Yeah,
it does.
absolutely.
Get into that. Get into that, my friend. Now, collaborations. You doing any collaborations with people?
So yeah, I actually have been really private with everything that I've done for years and years and years, and then
Hmm.
in the last year, I actually have opened myself up to co-writing and collaborating with other artists on recordings and things like that. And I've done a little bit of it. Actually, my most recent single, Winding Binding Road, was a co-write with my buddy Michael C. Paris in North Carolina. And what happened there is I was trying to write a song and I got stuck. So I sent him a recording of me humming and mimicking what guitar part I thought I was going to do. And he sent me back the rest of the song, and he is one of those songwriting machines. You can give him a topic and he'll have a song in 5 minutes. So
those people are amazing. Yes, indeed, my friend. Now, talked about radio and stuff. Are you getting some good airplay?
Yeah. There's a lot of the NPR type stations, and there's a local radio station that I've partnered with. I run I actually host a show every summer. It's a serialized season show, I guess is what the word is, but we feature different singer-songwriters, and we run remote from Rowdy's Smokehouse, which is a barbecue restaurant here in town. They've built us a stage, and so I call these folks in to come and tell their story. We feed them and pay them, and broadcast it on 3 radio stations, and then release it on Spotify and YouTube. It's called Homegrown Happy Hour. And it's been doing really well. I really like that, and it's gotten me a little bit more of attention from that standpoint. And as far as my recordings go, it just seems like there's a lot of college stations and some international stations, which is pretty wild. I send a lot of records to the Netherlands and Germany and places like that, which is really interesting. But they like this kind of music over there quite a bit.
We got to get you around the world. That's why we're doing the show, Ben.
Absolutely.
Definitely. It is great. So now I've got some basic questions that I ask the artists, and I've got them for you. We're going to have some fun here. And what's this I got over here in this? What's this I see that we're looking for, a telly or a banjo?
Yeah, so I have every kind of guitar there is except for a telly and a Les Paul. So I'm kind of bored. I've had all my gear a long time, and I have a Marshall head that I don't use anymore. So I'm just thinking, why not trade it for something I could use? And
that's wonderful.
I've had a few banjos over the years, but I never really spent much time really trying to get good at it. So I really want to get one and work on the claw hammer style banjo playing. We'll see if that happens.
Cool. So now I want to talk about when you're performing. Okay. Yeah. Every artist has different ways of getting on the stage. Some people are nervous, some people are not. Are you nervous when you get up there?
No, I would say not always, but it does happen occasionally. If it's a brand new venue I've never been to, or if the booker, the person who arranged the show with me, is giving me some weird vibes, sometimes I get our crowd prefers upbeat music.
Okay.
And then I just have to say that's awesome. I do a little bit of everything, but it's all original. I'm not going to be playing John Mellencamp and all of that. I mean, I love that stuff. I love it, and I will listen to anybody do it. But that's not what I've done. And so, if they try to book me, and then I'm always nervous about how those ones will go. I've only been asked to leave one time in my whole career.
Somebody really asked you to leave?
Well, it wasn't so much that as I left, but it was the owner came up and told me first, I use one of those array systems. It's a very small, compact very comfortable to listen to system, whether you're a foot away from it or across the room. And you're always going to be asked to turn down. So I don't
Oh
take
yeah.
offense to that, you know. But I
Right.
turned it down and I had just one notch left on this thing. And he came up after that song, no, in the middle of a song, and
Oh
came up and
no.
said, "Will you please turn down more?"
Oh,
And I said, "Sir, if I turn it down any more, it will be off." And
right.
he said, "Well, also, if you could maybe play something slower because the crowd is going to eat at the tempo that you play and it will cause indigestion. And then I'll get a bunch of bad reviews on Yelp for my food."
Oh, I'm glad you unplugged, did what you did, and left.
Yeah, yeah. I told him, I said, "I've been here for 15 minutes. You've already really angered me, and I do not need this $150 or whatever I was getting paid." This was
Not
probably 10
worth it.
years ago.
Oh, geez. No, 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 unbelievable. But what I want to get at is you're on that stage, and when you're on that stage performing, I mean, it looks like the people know your music. When they're singing it, and you see them singing it, and they're swaying, dancing, whatever they're doing out there, and it bounces back to you. How's it
Oh,
making you
yeah.
feel, man?
That is the best medicine in the world right there.
Isn't
When someone is singing my lyrics back to me, or if I'm playing a brand new place and I don't know a soul in the room, I watch for the toes to be tapping, whether they're clapping at the end of the songs or anything
right?
like that. If their toes are tapping, then I know that they're grooving to it and enjoying it, and that's all that matters to me.
That's
Um, Sometimes it can be hard, you got to get a read for the room, especially with what I do, because it's all such vulnerable lyricism. It's
mm,
true life, and uh, you know, sometimes it makes you want to abandon ship and steer the course some other way and play the John Mellencamp and play some covers that they'll love. But
yeah. Don't do
that's never the answer.
it. No. Just keep doing what you're doing, man, because it's great and it's amazing. I hope everybody on podcast land is loving the music. If you're listening to it, okay, please listen to it. More questions to come. So now this I want to ask you. All right, you're where you're at right now. Who would you want to play with? Anybody in the world. Who would
Anybody in the world?
you want to share that stage with?
So you mean in an opening context or
Give
performing with?
performing with.
Okay, so performing with, man, I would really love to just. It's hard to really say.
Yeah.
Uh, Man, there's so many great musical acts out there, but
Mm,
one of my favorite things to do is perform with my buddy David Childers. And
okay.
so if I'll do it this way, if I was gonna do a Songwriters in the Round show, uh, my favorite would be David Childers, Todd Snyder, and probably Adam Carroll out of Texas. If I could, those three
Yeah.
up on stage, not only would I feel vindicated and uh, just
Yeah.
just represented as well as I could be, that would be life fulfilling. The only other person would be Steve Earle. I mean,
Oh,
he's
yes.
he's the man. He's
Oh,
the
yeah.
mayor of all that.
Man, why? Well, now we figure out who you want to play with there. There's a lot of places in this world to play. Is there a one or two stages in this world you want to step foot on?
Yeah, yeah, I would love to perform at the Ryman Auditorium. That's
Oh,
I think a lot of us would love to do that. I mean,
yeah.
and it's kind of a pinnacle, and obviously another great opportunity and place that I would love to play is Red Rocks. That both of
Yes.
those are such lofty goals, but man, I've seen guys just down the road from my home do it, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
something that can happen.
It
So
can happen. And I can see you at Red Rocks because it's just a wonderful place. I've been there and the acoustics are just amazing.
it's
It's,
beautiful.
oh,
Yeah, I've not gotten to take in a show there, but I went while while they were closed. They let you check stuff out, and
yeah, they do. It's
it's
cool.
beautiful.
It is beautiful. Let's jump to some music. We're at 40 minutes, Ben. I want to jump to some songs here that you have done. And I love them all. I don't know which one I want to talk about. I want to talk about them all. No. But, oh boy, Winding Binding Road. Tell me
Yeah,
about that. Tell me
yeah.
about that.
So that song I wrote, I was sitting at the local tap room, just sitting there staring at the wall. There was no other customer in there. It was just me and the bartender, and I wasn't drinking, and I was just kind of sitting there staring, and I had had a really taxing day. And about the
Mm.
third time the bartender asked me if I was ready to order something is when I realized that was kind of weird. And so I thought about it and realized that I was coping, with my anxiety and depression and
Okay.
just reflecting on my life. And um, so what happened then was I had the idea to write a song about sitting in a bar with nobody in it, and then maybe I could just text all my friends that I also knew had anxiety and depression and see how they cope. And none of them answered back because I think they were so anxious and depressed.
They
So,
were in place.
so
Uh,
that's how I wound up getting a hold of Michael Paris and told him the premise of the song, and I had had about half of it done, and he sent me back what he thought, and I kind of rephrased that, and then I got a really great band lined up for the studio, and we went and laid it down. It became a really rocking number. I came up with that guitar riff at the beginning
nice.
on the acoustic guitar first. It's kind of a Celtic bluegrass kind of thing, and then
Right.
if you plug an SG into a Marshall and do it, it sounds a little more rock and roll. So it worked out. It sounded like a winding, binding road, and we made that song the best that we could.
Wonderful. That's a great song. Now, you sent me a couple videos earlier, and I was checking them out. And the one I like the most is Single Prop Airplane.
Yeah, that's going to be my next single. Actually, we got that recorded, and it's in the pipeline. Hopefully, be released early 2024.
2020. That's a wonderful song. People were loving it, and it's about a dream.
Yeah, yeah. I was laying in bed, woke up from this dream where I was flying an airplane, and I had remembered vividly what airplane it was. I had been to the Wright
Really?
Brothers Monument and saw this red and white single prop airplane sitting there, and for whatever reason, it struck me, and I took a picture of it, and I had kept it. I kept that picture. And
Nice.
so I woke up from this dream where I was flying it. And when I was flying it, I could see the world and I could see. I remember when I was a little kid in elementary school, these hang gliders and small ultralight airplanes and things like that would fly over our playground, and they would wave at us and we'd wave back, and it was such
Cool.
a special little feeling. And so I remember I was the guy waving at the kids on the playground, and they were delighted. And then I woke up and I realized that I could not fly airplanes. I don't have a license for that,
Right.
you know. And I was kind of bummed, and I jotted all that down on my phone. And I had a few months later, I had a guitar part that I was playing. It was a really sensitive, delicate guitar part. It's not what it is now, um, but I needed some lyrics for it, and I opened my phone and saw this gibberish about an airplane, and I was like, well, that's not really a lyric, but I remember what that was I was really upset when I woke up, and I thought about all the times before, when you dream that you're opening up a Gibson Les Paul on Christmas morning,
Mm,
or you're getting ready to kiss, the crush that you had in school, or whatever, and you wake up and you're just in bed and it was just a dream, you know.
Right.
So I wanted to capture that in a song and kind of correlate it to normal romance as well, which seems to be a theme in a lot of my songs. But you know, and so all these things that were great and magical were happening, and then you wake up and in real life, I had come to on the floor of the dirtiest, nastiest hotel I'd ever been in,
Really?
surrounded by beer cans because I couldn't. I paid $30 for this hotel room. I couldn't sleep in the bed, so I set up a cot that I travel with and laid
Okay.
on that, and I still couldn't sleep for the fear that I was going to get eaten by mice or something. So I drank a bunch of beers, and I woke up, and I remember just how also disappointed I felt that my heart was still broken, and I still didn't have the things that I was dreaming of, and I was laying in this pit of despair, literal pit of despair, and nothing to do but get up and get moving. So
That's
that's
right.
what that song's about.
Beautiful. Well, it's a great song. I can't wait till you release it like that. And in
Thank you.
2024, everybody in podcast land, I appreciate you joining us on this episode with Ben Davis Jr. Check them out on Spotify, all the platforms. Again, where can they find you?
On bendavisjr.net, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, anywhere. Just search Ben Davis Jr. and My Ugly Mug will be up there.
I love it. All right, we're getting towards the end here, Ben. What I want to do, and I usually don't do this, I'm going to put one of your songs in the background as you end this show. So hold on, let's hit that button. You hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you. This song,
Leaving
ladies and
Cincinnati.
Leaving Cincinnati. Beautiful song. Beautiful song. So, on that note, Ben, while the song is playing, this is your show. You got anybody out there you want to say thanks to, hello to?
Yeah, so am I allowed to use expletives?
You can do whatever you want. It's your show.
Okay, so I want to say thanks to the Shithouse Wire, which is led by old white chocolate Eric Kincaid himself. And then my beautiful girlfriend Jillian, and all of the supporters from over the years. That's who I want to reach out to.
Ben, I thank you so much for coming on No Cover TV's podcast and joining me today, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Al. It's really great to talk to you.
It's really great to talk to you, my friend. Keep my eye on you. We've got to do this again very soon because I want to see where you're at, my friend, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
It's all right. Everybody in podcast land, get and check out Ben Davis Jr. This is a great song right here, Leaving Cincinnati, just like they all are. So go to YouTube, go to the platforms, check out all the artists around the world, great music of all genres and age groups. This is No Cover TV, Big Al, your host, Ben Davis Jr. in the house, aren't you, brother?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to wrap it up, and here comes a little louder. There it is. That's Ben, people. So let's end the show like this. So grab your lady, grab her hand, and have a dance. I'm Ben. Ben, thank you very much. We're going to wrap it up. We're out of here, Ben. Say we're out of here.
We're out of here.
We're out of here, Ben. I'm going to talk to you real soon. This will hit the platforms very fast. All right, my friend?
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, brother. We're out of here. Peace.